food security. We've been joined on the program by Pauline Opara, Head Food Security and Livelihood at Action Against Hunger, ACF, joining us from our Abuja studios. Thank you so much, Ms. Opara, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
You know, food is essential. Anything that affects food is considered existential. That's how critical food is. It's at a basic level of survival. So we'll not get tired of talking about food. The inflation numbers are out. They've eased by a few percentage, I think 1 or so in terms of food inflation based on the rebased CPI. But when you look at what is playing out in Nigeria, what's your general and maybe, let me use the word, general assessment of how you think the Nigerian government, which has struggled many years now to be able to make food as available at affordable rate as possible to a lot of people. What in your strategic frontier do you propose can help tackle the issue of food security, which has been a challenge for a very long time?
Thank you so much for that question. To be able to understand the dynamics and multiple factors that have been contributing to food insecurity in the country and how to solve them, I think it is good for us to state the obvious facts, the details, and also the revelations from different assessments that has been conducted within the country. So currently, the just concluded March cadre harmonize, I'm sure you might know about the cadre harmonize, is early warning tool for food and nutrition insecurity across the country that has been facilitated for over 5 years by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. So according to the analysis that was just recently conducted in March, concluded in March, it states that currently, according to the analysis, currently we are having about 24 million people who are currently food and nutrition insecure in Nigeria. And as per the projection, we are going to have over 30 million people who would be in the same food and nutrition insecurity in the lean season, very critical lean season. And we also know that the lean season is going to come early this year. So we have among them over 60% of this population who are women, and also about 150,000 IDPs who will be food insecure in the country. These numbers are alarming, and it has been the case for over 15 years. So some of the key drivers of food insecurity in the country is, of course, one of the obvious first driver we know is about the general conflict and insecurity, especially in northern Nigeria. But this is across the country though. But also in northern Nigeria, we know that Borno State also have experienced impending conflict for over 15 years, and this has also contributed to food insecurity in the area. Also the northern region, the northwest region, Sokoto, Katsina, and Zamfara are also facing severe food insecurity, with very high number as high as 6 million people to be food insecure. So aside the conflict, part of it is also the farmer health crisis. This has not allowed people, farming community who we know are part of the rural community, to access their lands for farming. Also, even the herders are unable also to farm and rear their livestock for large-scale production. So this is one of the biggest challenge, alongside the climate change that we have been experiencing. I would not delve so deep into it. We have experienced it, and this is also causing a lot of challenge as regards to agriculture and providing sustainable sustainable solution to food and nutrition security in the country. Also, I would like to talk about, because we had a gender person who just recently talked about technology, I would also talk about the lack of involvement of youth and also women in agricultural activity. We have I think left that particular set of people in the nation development and in terms of agriculture, and this is one challenge, alongside the different infrastructure that has not been available for farmers and rural dwellers, information, early warning, the use of innovations and technology has actually limited food security and farmers to be able to get the right knowledge and innovation to be able to produce enough food for the growing population. So to also answer your question, now that we have known the different key drivers of food insecurity in Nigeria, it is important for us to first fit them differently.
It's a grim picture that you paint. Before you begin the second part of your answer, it's a grim picture that you have painted, but based also on other factors that have been spoken about at the beginning of the year. I'm talking about the weather prediction for 2025 as announced by the Minister of Aviation some weeks back, that there will be delayed onset of rains in the north and there'll be early onset of rains in the south. As a matter of fact, in Lagos, it is expected that we would have above normal rainfall. What are the signs that you're seeing about this particular weather prediction informing agricultural activities by both government and, in fact, in the value chain of the agricultural sector, even in the private sector, that there are preparations for climate-smart agriculture that would, tackle what would be a negative impact of the adverse effects of climate change following this particular prediction for 2025?
Okay, thank you so much. I would like to applaud the different agency and government ministry who are working tirelessly to provide farmers with this information, especially like the NIMET and the prediction of the early onset of rainfall and the late onset in the different zones and areas in Nigeria. However, one challenge is that the local farmers do not have access to this information. Most time it is being aired in the news, and the rural farmers sometimes do not even have a common radio to listen to this program. So what am I saying in essence? It is not enough for us to have this data, but if the end users of this data are not rightly informed, this is where we have issues. Year in, year out, we have this data. We try to produce and to monitor climate change and also the events that would come into play during the seasons of rainfall and after rainfall, the early onset. But on that point, I think we need to do more to be able to cascade this information to the farmers who need it in the rural areas. And I'm not saying urban farming has not been into play in Nigeria. We have urban farmers too, but we know that the rural area are the most producers of the food we have in Nigeria. Also, it is important for us to develop policies that would address the issue of climate change. This is training these farmers. If you have the information and you don't have the requisite training to be able to respond actively and to be able to improve your production within this time frame, it becomes very difficult for you to utilize the information. So I am looking more, we need to look more on the utilization of this information. Also, we need to train farmers on different climate smart.
I'm sure that there's a lot you want to share with us, but we just are trying to manage time. But I think it's an ongoing conversation, and we thank you for your advocacy and what you're doing. Pauline Opara, Head Food Security and Livelihood and Action Against Hunger, who joined us from Abuja studios. Thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we will take a quick break, and this time, just relax, chill. It's Wednesday morning, the midweek edition. Let's bring you something different. After the break, join us again.